Hey guys, it's your girl Queen Carla, and I am here with another video. I know it's been a while since I have posted. I have just been doing a lot of self-reflecting. Been going through a lot, but it's quarantine, and I really don't have anything else to do. I actually posted this story on TikTok, and I got, some decent responses. Not a ton, but, I just started thinking, this wasn't a video I was necessarily planning to post. I really was on the fence about it, but I decided that I want to spread awareness, and I want to, if I can help someone or touch someone or help anyone in any sort of way, I definitely want to do that. So I was like, well, go ahead and post it. So this is going to be the story time about my abusive relationship, my toxic relationship that I was in, and my recovery, where I am now. There's going to be three different parts to this: an introduction of me giving some disclaimers, backstory, just setting the foundation for the video, and there's going to be the actual video that I filmed when I was in a really upset, dark mental state, and then at the end I'm going to give an update on where I am now, what's going on with me, how I'm doing, all that good stuff. It's going to be a long one, so buckle your seatbelt if you're interested in watching, and I hope that it gets a good response. I don't know, we'll see. I was in a
Look at you thinking you could live without him, now look at you living. Look at you doing way better and all out of your feelings. Your head just came back and your ass is getting a little bigger. Girl, fuck that little nigga. Girl, fuck that little nigga. Cause you don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. And you can do better. You don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. You can do better. You fell in love with a fuck nigga. Now you feel like you can't trust niggas. You the one that would've stuck with him. Know you knew he was a fuck nigga. Why you let him do you like that? Why you let him do you like that? You leave once and be right back. Why you let him do you like that? You let him cheat on you. You let him beat on you. You scared to be single, huh? You need to leave home. He call you ugly names. Your mind ain't feeling the same. You going through bodily change. Girl, get back on your game. Friends try to tell you leave him, but you're feeling like you need him. He can cheat right in your face, and you still gon' believe him. Then a good man come along, and you push him away. You push him away. You gotta do better. Look at you thinking you could live without him, now look at you living. Look at you doing way better and all out of your feelings. Your head just came back, and your ass is getting a little bigger. Girl, fuck that little nigga. Girl, fuck that little nigga. Cause you don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. And you can do better. You don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. Girl, you can do better. You deserve flowers on Tuesday. Not a single but the bouquet. I know you had a real long day. Let you pop open the Dulce. Not on Netflix and chill. Baby, that ain't what it is. Need a real boss in your corner. Help you pay some of them bills. I see the stress on your shoulders. Girl, let me take it all. You let them fuck niggas hurt you. Now you won't fuck with a ball. I see the pain in your eye when I look at you. Know you tired of all these niggas. Baby, just hear me through. You got a PlayStation at home. I ain't finna play with you. Tell me what you want. Whatever you need, I do. I don't think you know your worth, baby. I can't sit back and watch you hurt, baby. Look at you thinking you could live without him, now look at you living. Look at you doing way better and all out of your feelings. Your head just came back and your ass is getting a little bigger. Girl, fuck that little nigga. Girl, fuck that little nigga. Cause you don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. And you can do better. You don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. Girl, you don't deserve that. Girl, you can do better.
Very messed up place at this point. When I first got with this person, I thought I was ready for a relationship, and I wasn't, and I feel like I was in love with who I thought he was, but not who he actually was. And once he sort of started to show me who he really was, it really changed my perception and my feelings. Like, I know, like, people are gonna be like, oh, he paid the rent, like, that's significant. Yes, paying the rent is significant, and if he was not doing that, we wouldn't have been able to live. But you have to also look at it, of my point of view, is he's sitting there doing nothing. You know, he doesn't have to work for this money that he's getting. He can just sit there and, you know, do whatever. And I understand that people have mental illnesses, people have mental issues. Sometimes it's hard for people to work, or impossible for people to work with those issues. But at the same time, I feel like in his situation, he was capable of cleaning up the house, cleaning up after himself, just caring a little bit more. He had a drinking problem. Wouldn't call him an alcoholic, but he definitely was a binge drinker. And when he would drink, he would get very mean, and he would say all these things. He would tell me that all my friends were fake and try and get me to hate them and convince me that they didn't like me and they talked about me. You know, just a whole bunch of kind of twisted things. That's not okay, you know what I mean? Like, that's really messed up. He is bipolar, but he does not want to help himself. He does not want to medicate himself. He basically just expects people to take care of him and feel sorry for him, but he doesn't want to try to improve his own life. There has to be someone there guiding him or forcing him to do it. He was pretty manipulative. Basically, if I didn't do something for him, he would start an argument with me, and it would be this whole big thing. He would start screaming. He would, you know, throw a temper tantrum, whatever. He basically manipulated me into getting this phone for him because he was freaking out. He was acting up. In order for me to not have to listen to him whine and complain and be himself, I bought him the phone, and I put myself in a bad financial position because we were already struggling financially. I think that at the time that I bought the phone, he wasn't working. And, you know, he was like telling me that he was going to pay for it, you know, and that was like an extra $170 that was on our plate every month. And, you know, and I mean, I couldn't even really barely afford the things that we had at that point, the things that we were currently paying for. I just didn't feel appreciated. I felt like I couldn't please him. And honestly, like, as bad as it probably sounds now, like, I wasn't trying to please him for his benefit. I was doing it for my own. I was doing it so that I didn't have to deal with him being angry and him being aggressive and him saying things. And the other thing I wanted to kind of mention, which I didn't really talk about, is we both were, you know, not perfect. And I really messed up a lot of things because I feel like in the beginning my feelings were 100% there, but once I started to kind of see who he really was and what our life was really going to be like, my feelings changed, and I didn't feel the same way that I did previously. My feelings just weren't all there, you know? Like, I cared about him, but I wasn't viewing him in that sort of way. Like, I wasn't viewing him in a, oh, I love this person, I want to spend the rest of my life with him, I want to marry them, I want to have a family with them. Like, I wasn't viewing him like that anymore. I was viewing him more of like a pastime. And Once your relationship gets to that point, you need to just let it go one way or another. And and for me, there were a couple reasons that I didn't let go sooner. Is because, for one, I was very concerned that he was going to harm himself. And for two, I didn't know how I was going to recover from all the financial stress and financial issues. And I really just didn't know like how to really move forward from that. And I think that I definitely had a better support system than what probably a lot of people have. I have two great parents, and I have friends, and I have people that are willing to help me in whatever way that they can. And that's my luck. Some people don't have that. But one thing I can say is, once you get out of that situation, you feel so free. You feel so different. You feel like a new person. You feel like yourself. You feel better. I'm not saying everything in this video. There are things that I'm leaving out. It's just too much to share. I can't fit everything in one video. I'm basically highlighting the key points. If you feel like it wasn't abuse or it wasn't a certain way, that's your opinion. But I lived it, and it was very hard for me, and it was a life-changing experience that taught me a lot about myself, a lot about my past relationships, a lot about relationships that I want to have in the future, and just made me overall a better person. Obviously, with what I'm wearing and how I'm looking, kind of just not really feeling doing the whole nice makeup and nice hair and nice shirt, and I'm just really not feeling that today. Today's video, I think I just really need to be honest with myself, and I have been in really just not in a good space, and this video I'm gonna jump around a lot. It may be an emotional video, I don't really know. It may not even be something I post, but I feel like I need to deal with my emotions the only way that I know how, which is turning on the camera and talking, and this is how I'm gonna do it. So I feel like my life has been on a very downward spiral, and there are things that I've done, and there are things that are going on that it's just not me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not my character. It's not who I am. It's not what I want to be. It's not what I ever tried to be or aspired to be. And I think because of that, I have been... Sorry, I feel like it's better to take those off. But I've been super hard on myself over it. And I know that I need to take responsibility for my own actions and realize that I have made a lot of mistakes here in the last year. A lot of things that I really regret. 2020 is just not starting off the way that I wanted it to. And I'm sorry. I'm just not in a good headspace. Like, I'm really not. I'm gonna go to the gym with my friend here in a minute, and maybe that'll lift my spirits. I don't really know, but I'm just struggling. But long story short, about a year ago, I thought that I was ready for another relationship, and I thought that that was gonna be good for me, and I thought I was making the right decision. And I started blowing money like crazy, racking up my credit cards, got into a lot of debt, got into a lot of ugly financial situations, and I haven't been dealing well. I can't even tell you how many hotels that I stayed in with my ex-boyfriend. during that time period, because things just didn't start off great. I was in a pretty good place financially, and then once I got with him and he really wasn't in the best place financially, I took care of him. I spent a lot of money and did a lot of fucked up shit. And at that time, I thought I was so happy. I don't know why. Like, I guess because for the first time in like almost 2 years, I was forgetting about my ex before him, the one that really hurt me and really damaged me and really just fucked me up, you know what I mean? And for that first time, I felt relief from that, and I guess, and I know a lot of people will call it a rebound, but I mean, me personally, like, I don't feel like that's what it was, because it was so long ever, like, since I broke up with my ex, and I gave myself time, and I thought I was ready, and, long story short, like, I wasn't ready, and I jumped into something that I shouldn't have been in, because I still had feelings for my ex, and I didn't really recognize that until a few months ago, and I just feel very lost and angry. I don't know. But I ended up moving in with this ex of mine, and I remember when the day I was moving, my best friend came to help me, and her mom dropped her off, and she told me that her mom said she'd never seen me so happy. And I was very happy. I was very happy with him. It wasn't an act, it wasn't a game, regardless of what he thinks or what anyone else thinks. It wasn't an act, it wasn't a game. I really was happy. But things took a turn for the worst. And that was only a month and a half into our relationship. So we were still in the puppy dog phase, we weren't really at a real point in our relationship yet. And so, I just kind of, I didn't really realize what I was getting myself into. We'll just say that. And I had seen some red flags before we moved in together, but I really didn't realize the severity of it. And I just really, I wasn't in the right mind space. So we weren't together very long before we moved in together. Everything was very rushed, and a lot of that was because of the living situation with him. And the living situation with me, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst either, and it was manageable, and I could have stayed there. I really was against moving in with him, but he kind of persuaded me into it. And eventually I just was like, for it. And I was like, let's do it, and I was happy and I was excited, and I felt like the apartment that we had picked out was really good, and it wasn't in the best part of the neighborhood. It wasn't like the fancy apartments you see on YouTube. It didn't have a dishwasher. It wasn't perfect, you know what I mean? Like, there were issues, but it was affordable, and it was, you know, good for what we needed or what we wanted at the time. And so we ended up signing the lease the end of January last year, and we didn't want to be apart, and so because of that, we stayed in hotels, or we stayed in his basement with his mom's house, and his mom has a drinking problem. So, you know, she would say stuff, he would say stuff, they get in fights, and at one point he broke his phone, and, you know, those were kind of moments where I felt like red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, don't do this. But I didn't take it seriously enough to be like, no, I'm not doing this. So I just went along with it. We moved in February. Things were pretty good up until, I would say, about April. And that's when things kind of got rough, and basically when we moved into the apartment, when we signed the lease and everything, he had this good job. You know, he was making like $12, I think it was $12 an hour, which, you know, isn't great, but you know, it's a decent wage. It's a livable wage, I would say. And so he was working, and then, you know, I worked there for 3 weeks to a month, and they let him go. Even though I really think he quit, but that's a whole other thing. And so when he lost that job, I didn't know what to do, and he already was working only on Sundays at my job, and so he ended up going there more full-time, and he didn't like it, and he had a lot of problems with my coworkers. He had a lot of problem with the job itself. I was really embarrassed by the way he was acting, because I had built up such a reputation at my job. At this point, I had been there about 4.5 years, and I was really embarrassed, you know, because I was like, this is not how you should be acting. This is, you know, and it was just a roller coaster ride. And he always said, well, you pick your job over me, you pick this over me, and like, yeah. I guess I was guilty of that, you know, taking my coworker's side, or whatever. Who is blowing their horn? The hell? Because I just gotta continue on with that annoying noise. Basically, thing has been downhill. He ended up leaving that job, and, you know, he was kind of going back and forth between different jobs, and never could keep one for an extended period of time. And, you know, he never could keep one for more than a few weeks. So, you know, I got very frustrated and very overwhelmed. It was just like he was home all the time doing nothing, and I was out here working and worrying about bills, and he wasn't really doing anything. And I would come home and the house would be dirty, and it was just like, what do you do all day? You know, like, I'm here working, and I'm, you know, at that point I was also still in school. And it's like, I'm working, I'm in school, I'm doing all these things. You know, what are you doing? You know, why aren't you helping me? Why is this a problem? Why is the house nasty? Why, you know, and it just became an ongoing frustration. And I told him time and time again, I'm getting annoyed, I'm getting upset. If you're gonna stay home, the least you can do is clean this house up. Like, the least you could do is, like, do something so that I don't have to do it when I get home after I've been at work and school and busy all day. And it was a really fucking rough situation. I got to the point where he had a SSI check, and that was basically enough to cover the rent and maybe, you know, get him cigarettes or some food or go do something or pay a small bill or something like that. That's pretty much all it was for. I mean, basically, like, it could pay the rent and maybe pay his phone bill and maybe something else. And that was basically all that was good for. And I actually ended up getting him an iPhone in my name through Sprint. It was an iPhone X Max, and that's still in my name. That's still an issue. I haven't been able to pay on it, and it's still an ongoing issue, basically. That bill keeps racking up and keeps racking up, and I can't pay it. It's not a good situation. Just reflecting on all these things that I've done and all the things that happen, and it's like, I don't know. It's crazy to me. But eventually, he took it too far. You know, I was at work one day. He was arguing with me. He was blowing up my phone, as usual, saying a whole bunch of crazy stuff to me, threatening to kill himself, sent me a picture with a knife to his throat, all kinds of stuff. And I got home, and before I got home, I was kind of texting my friends about the situation, and, you know, they're like, well, we'll come there with you, you know, because at this point I just wanted him to leave, and I just wanted to move on with my life, because I was so unhappy with him, and I was so unhappy with the situation. I was so frustrated. So they came, and basically we were trying to get him to just leave, and he basically turned it into something that it shouldn't have been. He brought a sword out. He called the police, and police came. He ended up leaving he was supposed to be, or I had to leave because he was gonna stay there and wait for his ride, which was his mother. He was with his mom or whatever, and he left. And I came back, and you know, I really wasn't staying there. And the first night that I was gonna stay there, I realized, like, I can't do this by myself. I missed him, but also for financial reasons, I couldn't do it by myself, and I was like, I can't do this, you know. And I was like, how is it fair that he gets to just skip out on all this responsibility and all these bills? He actually ended up breaking that phone. He broke that phone that night, that day that everything happened with the sword situation. It was like a slap in the face for me, because it's like, I got you this phone, I pay for this phone, how can you do that? He broke it. Eventually, when we got back together, we ended up getting it fixed. When he came back and we got back together, things were good for a little while. We ended up getting engaged, and when he asked me, part of me really did not want to say yes, but the other part of me was like, you need to say yes, because you don't know what his reaction's gonna be if you don't. Even though, like, I knew in the back of my head, like he was not the person that I wanted to marry and be with, and I just knew, like, that. I just knew that with him, like, that was not what I wanted. And I knew that. So, like, I ended up saying yes, we were engaged or whatever. And I remember this one specific time, I was at my work, and at the job that I was working at this point, I was not I was not allowed to answer like my phone. I wasn't allowed to be on my phone at all. And so he was blowing up my phone while I was at work, and he was just going crazy. He was drunk. He was at his job, and he was drunk. He actually had a job at that point, and he was drunk or whatever. And I didn't hear anything back from him when I got off work, so I went to go pick him up. He came up to the car and he just started yelling at me, and like, he broke his phone, or his phone had broke. Apparently he got hit by a car. I took him to the hospital. You know, they did some x-rays. They said he would be okay. You know, they broke his phone. He broke his phone, whatever happened. And so then after that, I got the phone fixed again. Things just started going downhill after that. I had this vacation that I had planned with my mom and my best friend, and we went to Myrtle Beach, and it was amazing. He didn't go with us because it was really just a girls' trip, and it was something we had planned before I was with him, and you know, I didn't want to go. I didn't want him to go, and they didn't want him to go, and we just wanted it to be a girls' thing. This whole time on this trip, he is making me feel like shit for leaving. Even though I had got his phone fixed, I left him food, I left him cigarettes, I left him what he needed, I left him some money for if he wanted to go do something. And I really didn't have a lot of money on vacation, and that's the really fucked up thing. Because I had gotten so behind on my credit card bills, all my bills in general. I was so behind because of having to take care of everything. And I couldn't do it. And, you know, so we go on this vacation. He's making me feel like shit the whole time. Just saying really fucked up things to me, and being very rude to me, and all that. I ended up getting back, and, you know, things were just not good because I was very upset at him. I didn't let him ruin my vacation, but he definitely affected the time that I had. Sorry, my cat was moving. But he definitely affected my time down there, and I just thought it was fucked up. Regardless of if I let him ruin my time, the fact that he tried, or the fact that he was acting that way, was fucked up to me. Because in my opinion, like I really deserved that vacation. I really needed it, and like, for someone to just sit there and like be nasty to you, you know, and it's like, why? You know, and he would always get mad at me because, like, I was dealt different cards than him, you know, like, I have a good family, I have good friends, you know, he doesn't have that, and it's really sad that he doesn't, and I feel bad for him, but it's not my fault, you know, and I think that was, like, one of the things that was, like, super hard, and I just went through a lot. And so a few weeks later, we ended up breaking up, and this time it was like for good. I had honestly had it with him. I got a cat for my birthday in June, and like, I don't think anyone realizes, but like, this cat, like, she saved me so much because I was at such a low point in my life, and like, she was one of the things that kept me going because, you know, I was her mom, and it gave me a purpose. Like, she gave me a purpose, you know? And so, got in an argument. I don't remember about what. And before I left that day, he was freaking out. He was pacing around the house and he was yelling. And so I picked my cat up because she was still so little. And I picked her up and I was holding her and he was just in my face and he was yelling at me. And it was just like, I don't know, just like it. I know it's a cat, but like it just felt like he was like yelling at me when I was holding a child, and I just, like, I don't know, like he was always trying to get me to have kids with him, and I'm so glad that I didn't. Oh my god. And so pretty much, got in this argument. I left. I went to my friend's house and we were hanging out, and he was texting me a bunch of crazy stuff while I was there. And he was telling me that he was gonna put my cat outside, and she was still a baby. She was like, I don't even know what old she was at this point, like 5 months old at this point. She was still really little. And and he was just telling me that he was gonna put her outside. And it was so fucked up. And it was just like, I can't do this. Like you're threatening my cat. You know, like, for you to threaten me or be mean to me, like, cool. But don't bring my cat into it. And so I ended up going home, and he hadn't put her outside, but I was just like, I felt done with the situation. And so I went upstairs with my friend, and we were starting to get my stuff together, and I was gonna leave. I was basically just getting like my clothes and like my Bratz dolls, which are like really important to me, and my cat, and just stuff I needed. Like, I wasn't like trying to get everything, you know. And like, I was going to go to my mom's, and he came home and he was super drunk, and he was just saying a whole bunch of nasty things to me and to my friend. And he ended up, he was trying to drink bleach. He ended up breaking his phone again. He ended up breaking my TV. He just, like, was acting crazy. And, you know, he was mad I was leaving. He's like, you can't talk to me. I'm like, I've been trying to talk to you, you know? It's like, at some point, it has to be a lost cause, you know? And, I think he ended up calling the police, and they ended up coming, and they actually ended up taking him to the psych ward for 3 days, and he was just messed up. And so I ended up leaving, and this whole thing has been really crazy. But he ended up getting out of the psych ward. I ended up going to get him from his grandma's house one day. And, you know, we talked about what we were gonna do. And I told him that I knew I couldn't be with him, and I didn't want to be with him. And, you know, we still had the lease to finish out. We still had an apartment. We needed to figure out a plan. So since that, he's been staying at that apartment. And just this beginning of this month, he paid the last month of rent on that lease. And up until then, I've been helping him out financially. I'd still been staying there from time to time, being in communication with him, everything. Been trying to be there. But he has just been pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. Just saying fucked up things to me and telling me he's gonna kill himself. And
just, yeah, it's a lot to take in, like, it really is. But honestly, like, I just want it to be over with. Some of my stuff's still there, and I need to get it as soon as possible. Yeah. There's just a lot going on with that, and I'm just really upset. You know, I don't have a lot of things that I have now. You know, I have some financial issues. You know, I don't have a car anymore, which is my own doing, you know, but I just have a lot of stuff going on that I never expected myself to be at this place at this age. Because I really thought that my life was on a good track, and that goes to show, like, you can meet the absolute wrong person and they can just completely turn your life around for the good or for the bad. In this case, it was for the bad. It's for the worst. And, you know, it's been a really rough journey. The last I left off with this video, I was going to get my stuff out. I was still in communication with him. Not too long after I filmed the video, I kind of limited my communication with him. I didn't see him. I talked to him not very often, and I helped him out a little bit more financially, but not very much. I got my stuff out towards the end of January, and when I went there, it was honestly very hard for me. I really didn't want to see him. I really wasn't prepared to see him. He had been basically guilting me, saying how he was starving and he had no money and he had no food and he had no money for dish soap or toilet paper or anything that he needed. And so I really was scared about how he was going to act and what the condition of the apartment was going to be. So we get there and he's immediately basically playing games. Like, I had told him like 10 minutes before we got there that I was coming to get my stuff, because I didn't want him to have enough time to break anything, or if he was going to break anything, not have a lot of time to do it. And you know, that was my whole point for that. I get there, he has the door locked. I didn't have the key anymore. He says he's trying to tell me he's, you know, not there, all this other stuff. So eventually we end up just going back outside. He walks out and leaves the apartment for a little bit, and then we go up there and we start getting my stuff. Now, this apartment was probably one of the worst houses, worst spaces that I've ever seen. Old food everywhere, beer cans everywhere, cigarette butts everywhere, trash everywhere, just everything everywhere. Just dishes piled up, the bathroom was gross, there was hair in the sink everywhere. It was very, very disgusting. It was very hard to be in that environment. I don't know how he lived in it, but he did. Going back to him guilting me and telling me he had no food and he had no money for whatever else, when I would send him money, he wasn't buying the stuff that he said that he needed. He was buying beer, he was buying cigarettes, he was buying alcohol. There was so much alcohol, so much. It was insane. He was taking that money I was giving him, my hard-earned money, and going and buying things that he didn't need. I just think it's messed up to put me through that guilt of he's starving, he's thirsty, He doesn't have anything to wipe his ass with. He's struggling. That was very hard for me to be okay with or accept. I also had been helping him out so much financially that I wasn't able to do the things that I needed to do for myself to get myself and my finances back in order. He was like pretty calm the whole time we were getting my stuff, because it was me and my mom and then 2 of my friends. We got it done fairly quickly. So as we get everything gathered up, I'm basically putting it out in the hallway so we can just take it outside and load it up. Just getting it out of the apartment at that point. Well, I'm the only one up there and everyone else is downstairs putting stuff in the cars, and he decides to be slick with me and say, "You're not getting your W-2," which I had a W-2 that I figured was probably going to come there, so I was concerned. He said, "You're not getting your W-2," and I said, "Why?" And then he didn't respond. So that was just kind of a pointless jab and just being disrespectful and bitter and whatever, spiteful. So then he starts pouring liner fluid on this air mattress that he had and basically was telling me that he was going to set everything on fire. Not too long after that, I left, and that was kind of that. After I left, I blocked him on everything. He hasn't really tried to contact me. He tried to add me on Snapchat, but I ignored it and I haven't had anything since that. I got a call from my landlord yesterday that he, I guess, isn't there anymore. He left his key in the drop box and the apartment is a disaster, as I expected. So, my landlord's not very happy, but at the end of the day, I don't have the mental strength or the mental energy to go back there. And, I honestly left a lot of things behind that maybe if I wasn't in that situation, I would have kept. But since I just wanted to basically get the things that I needed or things that were important to me, I got them out and I left as quick as I could. That's what I feel like I needed to do. Yeah, so long story short, I let go of that situation. I knew that I needed to get out of it. I knew that it wasn't healthy for me. It wasn't healthy for him. And, I honestly, I'm sure he probably will watch this video. That's okay. I honestly hope that he gets the help that he needs, and I hope that he has a good life and a better life. I just can't keep putting myself in that situation anymore. It's bringing me down.
So what I was kind of getting to in this part is I was basically talking about how I had made the decision to turn off the electric at the end of January instead of the 14th of February like I had originally told him I was going to do. And my reason for doing that is because I actually spoke with my dad. He made a really good point of why make his life any easier if he is just going to make yours harder, which really sat well with me. And I was like, well, that's very true. That's very right. Why would I help him out if he's just going to try to make me miserable? So I went ahead and I did that. And I think once he realized that he had no electricity, that's why he decided to leave and left the apartment a complete mess. Basically, I had just gotten to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it. It was really bringing me down. It was putting me in a really bad mental situation, and I was just a mess. I was very depressed and everything else, but I definitely learned a lot from the experience, and honestly it just made me into the person that I am today. So just now that I'm out of that situation, it is April now. It's been about 2 months since I filmed the clip with me in the pink gray sweatshirt, and I have been doing a lot better. I have made a lot of progress in my life and figuring things out. I have really come a long way. I still have definitely some things that I need to take care of, but who doesn't? I have just been wanting to focus on me because my biggest struggle is when I get into a relationship, I give my all to that person and I forget about myself, I neglect myself, and I don't focus on the things that I want to do, which what I need to do is focus on schooling, focus on work, focus on getting my degree, focus on making a career, focus on moving out. That's a goal of mine at some point, but it's gonna be a while. I'm gonna be at mama's house for a while. Yeah, that's definitely one thing that I do want to do. And I had mentioned in the video that I didn't have a car anymore. I do have a car again. It was my mom's car. I ended up giving her a little money for it, and now I'm mobile again. But now that we're on this lockdown, it's like it doesn't even matter. I don't have work. I don't have school. I don't have anything to go and do. So it is what it is. That's my saving grace there. As far as that Sprint phone bill, I did work out a payment plan. The balance was about $1,200. They finally stopped charging me. So that was the balance that I had to pay off. I've made 3 payments on it so far. 2 payments for $200 and then a payment of $300 and something. I do have about $500 something left to pay. So I plan to pay that when I get my stimulus check. And put that behind me. I do have some credit cards and other little things that I need to take care of as well, but otherwise I am doing a lot better. I am finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I am just trying to work on bettering myself. Honestly, one of the things that I have been struggling with is I do get lonely. I am a relationship person. I do want to be in a relationship, but I know that it's not good for me right now. I know that I need to focus on me, and I think that, I've tried talking to people and it never ends up working out, and I think that's why, is because I need to be alone right now. I need to focus on me. That's just what it is. I need to stop talking to boys and, this and that, because, I need to grow. I'm about to be 23 in June, and I just want to get my life more on track. I didn't want to be here at my mom's when I was 22, but it is what it is. Just trying to live my best life and do better. So, I hope that this story inspires someone. If you are in a bad situation, toxic, abusive, whatever kind of relationship, please get out of it. I know that it's probably easier said than done. And some people don't have a kind of support system that I have. But please, if you can, there are people that will help you. There are ways around everything. And stay strong, You just gotta build up that courage and say, you know what, I can do this. And do it. I'm very glad that I made the decision that I made. I am a lot happier. I'm gonna give a little update on him and that whole situation. Since I made the last video, he has tried to contact me multiple times in multiple ways, different accounts for things, phone numbers, whatever. He tried to stay in contact with me. Usually it's pretty brief. I will maybe give him one response and then be like, whatever. He actually tried to tell me that he had the coronavirus, which I don't think he actually did. I think he just, was trying to look for attention or sympathy or whatever. He also has just been trying to show off whenever he's in a relationship, like to try to make me jealous or whatever, which I don't care that he's in a relationship. Probably the biggest update that I do have on him is that he actually ended up moving in with an old friend of mine. I've never met her in person, which is weird, but I know her. I've been, I've talked to her and, been in communication with her for, oh God, a long time. Probably like 7 years, 6, 7 years, something like that. Basically, he ended up moving in with her. They became friends, and he ended up basically screwing her over, which, he's good for. Now he has a new girlfriend, and I don't know if they're actually engaged or what. It says they're engaged on Facebook, but he moved away, and yeah, he's tried to reach out to me, like I said, but yeah, that's really all the update I have on him. I don't think he's changed his ways at all. He's probably going to do the same thing to this girl, and in a way I really want to warn the girl, but she's not going to listen. She's not going to care. Maybe one day he'll grow up and be a man. I don't know, but maybe one day he'll get the help he needs. Maybe one day he'll turn his life around, but I don't know. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I know it was a long one, so I appreciate if you stayed until the end to hear what I had to say and see that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's me. I'm the proof. And you'll have a good rest of your day, rest of your week, rest of your month, whenever you're watching this.